I would honestly say just what that sacrifice looks like and, what it takes to do something that you're passionate about. Because I woke up every day being passionate about what I wanted to do. I looked forward to going to work and I look forward to being a father every single day. I feel like there's a lot of pressure of waiting till 5 o'clock to be a father or waiting till Friday to spend time with your family. And I just have never been a fan of those time constraints. I always want to be available as a father and I always want to be available to my work. So I was. And so she saw how happy I was working. There was a moment where I decided to really integrate her with what I was doing because she was expressing that interest and it was in finance, which is extremely boring for most adults, let alone kids. And yet she had that interest.
Being a dad is one of the most rewarding roles we will ever have in our lives, but also can be one of the most overwhelming, where we find ourselves facing the pressures of juggling the demands of our family, careers, and life. This show will feature industry experts in mental health, social services, and personal development, along with resilient dad role models whose stories of overcoming the challenges of parenting get a new vision for the life you and your kids deserve. I'm your host, Pat DiDomenico, and this is the Resilient Dad Show. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Resilient Dad Show. I'm your host, Pat DiDomenico, and on today's episode, we have Nicholas Soldo with us. Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Pat. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm looking forward again to the discussion and talk about all the things that you're doing. So Nicholas has spent many years of his career in marketing and sales, but is now the founder of Fatherpreneur, who is on a mission to teach fathers to be able to pass on skill sets of entrepreneurship to their kids so that he's been able to pass on to his daughter. So, Nicholas, can you tell us more about Fatherpreneur and what started you on the mission?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to start, I was 12 years old, Pat, when I planned my daughter's name, Savannah. Savannah is now about to turn 9 next month. And it was 18, almost 19 years ago when I knew I wanted to be a father. So it started way back when. I grew up with a big family. I was a family of 5. My mother and father were both entrepreneurs. And I grew up wanting to be a father and provide that foundation for my family. And so Fatherpreneur, I grew up in the hospitality industry. I had a long career in sales as well, ticket sales, group sales, and was able to really find myself on LinkedIn with this fatherhood mission.
And so tell us a bit about your upbringing in terms of with your parents, how were they an influence to you in terms of entrepreneurship or even being able to learn skills or be able to teach you things at a younger age that you may not have learnt at school?
Yeah, absolutely. My father was a businessman, but yet coached my baseball teams, was present at every practice. My mother traveled to New York City and commuted every day, and yet was present for every talk and lesson that I needed on a daily basis. I was very equal growing up with my parents and my siblings, and they just really inspired me to always want more and always be the best at what I was doing. Throughout my career, I always achieved and strived for greatness. I've always had some of the top numbers in whatever I did and always had a great relationship with my peers and superiors because I take pride in what I do. I wear it on my sleeve.
Yeah. And so I see that your parents have been a great example to you, and I'm assuming that's been part of what's helped you connect and be the example to your daughter. We've had some previous discussions and you're telling me about a particular event that Savannah created and that you were able to help to put together. And that's quite amazing at such a young age to be doing that. Can you share a bit about that and how the lessons all started with Savannah?
Yeah, absolutely. As a father, I missed majority of the first and 2 years of her life. I missed every holiday. I missed majority of the weekends because I worked in the hospitality industry. So I transitioned to the corporate world thinking I can spend that time with my daughter on holidays and weekends, and still was wrong. And so I quit my job in 2020 as a single parent and decided to start my own business with a couple of my business partners. And I set up shop right in my living room. I didn't have much space, so my desk was right in the middle of my living room, and my daughter's desk was right there next to me. And she was able to work with me every single day and see the sacrifice and hard work that I put in to not only being a father, but into my work, into the house, taking care of her normal duties. And she just quickly adopted a lot of those skills. And as you said, she wanted to open up her own business. So we decided she has a fascination for art. So that's where we landed. And yes, we decided to host our first art show. And it was incredible to see her passion behind it.
And what kind of things did she learn through the process? What were the key takeaways that she picked up that you believe has influenced her?
I would honestly say just what that sacrifice looks like and what it takes to do something that you're passionate about. Because I woke up every day being passionate about what I wanted to do. I looked forward to going to work, and I look forward to being a father every single day. I feel like there's a lot of pressure of waiting till 5 o'clock to be a father or waiting till Friday to spend time with your family. And I just have never been a fan of those time constraints. I always want to be available as a father, and I always want to be available to my work. And so I was. And so she saw how happy I was working. And there was a moment where I decided to really integrate her with what I was doing, because she was expressing that interest. And it was in finance, which is extremely boring for most adults, let alone kids. And yet she had that interest. And so we expanded what that working and expanding on what you're passionate about. And for her, it was art. And so we planned a whole event. We made it a lesson of how much capital went into the supplies, markers, crayons, canvases. We bought food, we bought drinks, we bought party decorations. We spent time on Canva together where she built her own marketing flyer and mini business card. And we marketed and advertised in our community and to our family and friends. And it was just an entire lesson of not just building a quick lemonade stand to make a quick buck, but what it actually takes to be passionate about something and open up a business in something.
Yeah. And you were mentioning that the lessons didn't just stop there. It was like the funds that she earned, then she learned some future lessons, which is one that adults even struggle with. I know even myself as a young adult, it's like, I've earned all this money. And I remember when I first started my apprenticeship in construction, it was like pretty much I went from paycheck to literally paycheck to paycheck to the hour. I just had enough money to get me to the payday for the next week. So what was that lesson that you've taught her at such a young age, which is fascinating?
I kid you not when I say I could ask her what compound interest is, and she will give me a direct answer. She's not a fan of a $20 bill in cash because she understands that if it goes into her account, it will earn interest and it will compound over time. She gets notifications to her cell phone that say how much interest she earns on a monthly basis. So for that art show, it was what happens then? Like, we put up the lemonade stand. Yes, we made the money. Then what? Where does that money go? Does it just sit in, quote unquote, the piggy bank and rot to inflation and never earn interest? Does it just get spent? I want to provide her an understanding of financial literacy, and that's a huge part of it. Just understanding that, hey, you can have $20 now, but if you put that $20 away at the end of the year, it will be X amount of dollars.
And also the lesson of delayed gratification, which is something that a great skill and ability to have, because these days everything's so instant that when we have to wait for something, it becomes, so for some reason, frustrating. Where even just a couple of years ago, we weren't able to get certain things done. So great lessons to teach, Savannah. And so with Fatherpreneur, can you tell us a bit more about that? Like, what services you're providing in it, and what are the things that dads can expect to be able to learn themselves and then be able to teach their kids?
Yeah, absolutely. The community that we have is going to be able to provide a ton of different channels, features, courses, workshops, and essentially what I call classrooms. A great way that I like to describe what the community has to offer is Career Day. If you're familiar with Career Day in school, where parents would show up and they would talk about what they're doing for their career, and all the kids would enjoy and listen and just be inspired. The community is Career Day all day, every day. Every day there's going to be channels and fatherpreneurs in there talking about their own content, talking about what they do for a living, helping other fathers, and collaborating with their kids to help other kids. I mentioned my daughter's art business, and How cool would it have been for me to be able to have a platform where I could connect with another father instantly who, let's say he's a software engineer and he does some light web development fun with his son or daughter. We could have connected and our business could have had a website in a matter of time. And then we could have connected with Pat, whose son is interested in hosting his own podcast. And we could have brought the art show on our website to the podcast and created this incredible kid network of businesses that they don't have the opportunity to create now. We are across the world from one another right now, Pat, and here we are talking, and our kids don't ever have that opportunity until they're adults, and I just don't understand why.
Exactly. Like, why not now? Why do they have to wait till they get into adulthood to learn the lessons of being able to network and connect with others and collaboration? And like you're saying, we're on opposite sides of the world. We've become good friends and we've been able to have a common interest through being fathers and also wanting to impact fathers. And what a great idea and something that you've launched now that fathers can connect, because that's probably another thing that I think is also the important part, that fathers are able to connect with other fathers. Us men don't necessarily freely connect with other men and communicate about desires and things that we want to learn. What a great platform to be able to create that space for men to do that. And so you've already launched and you've also already started with a great number of members on your initial launch. What are the actual ways that people can join and what's part of the Fatherpreneur membership?
At the moment, you're able to find me on LinkedIn or visit our community at www.fatherpreneurship.com. And you're able to sign up or send me a DM. We have a Founding Father launch as well. We'd love to have you and be a part of our Founding Father Foundation and build out in this community. Outside of that, we're still expanding to other social platforms. But what you could expect when you sign up, you'll see channels in there, just direct communication channels, very similar to Slack, where it's active live. We're always engaging daily. There's live feeds as well, very similar to Facebook or LinkedIn, where you'll see different pictures and stories and content about careers and fatherhood, as well as kid success story channels. We'll have weekly calls where fathers, as you said, are able to connect and support one another and just share stories and most importantly, share a laugh. Every single day we have a laugh with our kids because there's something funny and we deserve a spot and a unique place to share those stories.
Definitely. They're amazing. What they give us the opportunity to just relax and not take life so seriously, but also to learn things from them, because I've realized that they're probably our greatest opportunities to learn from our own, shortfalls or weaknesses. And I love that you've created a space where fathers are able to learn new things but also at the same time pass that on to their kids so that their kids have a head start compared to where they started. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And if there was something one thing in particular that you could pass on to the message to dads that are listening, what would that be to help encourage them make a start on the journey to connecting with their kids and having that entrepreneurship mindset to be able to pass on those lessons to their kids?
That it's never too late. Time is always ticking. And if you feel like it's too late or that you already missed your chance, that's not the case. There's absolutely other fathers who have been through what you have been through and have felt what you felt. And we're always here to share a story and be a support system for one another. And I think it's extremely important that we are aware of the powerful and impactful influence that we have on our kids in the next generation. And in this evolving world, it's important that they truly know they can do whatever they want, because we grew up hearing that, but now we're in a world where you absolutely can. And I don't want that to be unnoticed.
Great message to pass on. Dads, it's never too late. So it's time to take that step. And what's the best way for dads to connect with you personally if they want to get in touch?
Yep. Personally, shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. You can find me at Nicholas Soldo, or even send me a DM on fatherpreneurship.com. You're able to sign up and just do a quick trial and send me a DM, browse the channels. And then if not, we'll hope to see you there.
Awesome.
Appreciate that, Nick. And everyone, please reach out to Nick. I love what he's doing, the community that he's building. And I think it's a great opportunity for yourself to learn entrepreneurial skill sets, and as well as to be able to connect with your kids and be able to pass that on to them from a young age, because it's not something that we get taught in our school education system. So this is the opportunity for you to pass on those skill sets to your kids, and them not having to wait till adult life to then end up spending time in, whether it's a college or university degree, and don't end up using it because it's not what they enjoy, when they could have already had that skill set of entrepreneurship, but also be able to teach them life lessons that are valuable, like delayed gratification and understanding financial literacy. So, Nicholas, thanks again for coming on the show. Really appreciate your time and what you're doing. And for everyone out there, just remember that you're stronger than you think you are, so stay resilient.
Hey everyone, really appreciate you listening to today's show. It means a lot to me that you are part of the journey and mission to help fathers be the best dads possible. I'd really appreciate it if you review the show and share it with someone you genuinely believe could benefit from this content. Please visit resilientdad.com for more content and resources as we build this community for dads everywhere.